Hey, it's Lisa, and welcome to the first installment of my new vlog, Always Looking Up. I decided to name it that because that's kind of my perspective, being under 5 feet tall. I'm always looking up. I mean, that's always going to be my story. I mean, everything is always up here. Plus, I wanted to have a positive name, and of course, there's a lot of negative things here on YouTube, and so I wanted to do something that sounded positive and that's going to be positive, because that's what I'm all about. But we all have different perspectives, and I guarantee you, my life has been a little different from yours. I wanted to talk about a long time ago, what the Buck has done this, Shane Dawson has done this on their blogs, and it was actually quite fascinating to get to hear some of the things that they brought up about their lives. Being tiny when you're very young is cool. You get to freak out the little old ladies in the salon, when you're 5 years old, and you can read, like a 7-year-old, and talk like a 7-year-old or 8-year-old, but yet you're 5 and you look like you're 3. Being tiny with, the big blonde curls, of course, I don't have to worry about that right now. They're, once puberty hit, the cute curls, blonde, all went away. In my family, that's just what happens. Puberty happens and you get this, whatever you want to call this stuff that I have on top of my head, but it isn't what it used to be. Anyway, but in elementary school, it was really cool because, people were also protective of me. They would be so gallant and carry my lunch boxes and my books home. I'm not talking the girls, I'm talking the guys, so that was beyond cool. And also in elementary school, we would, here down in the South, they taught us how to dance, and, square dancing, line dancing, ballroom dancing, all the kind of dancing they would teach us how to do. And I was a good actress, and I was a good dancer back then. Of course, I'm not a good dancer anymore, but back then I was. So the boys were actually fighting to get to dance with me. Of course, isn't that way now, being middle-aged, whatever, that's just not life anymore. But back in elementary school, oh, she's so cute. It was really easy to learn how to skate because I didn't weigh anything, and my sister and her best friend, they're 5 years older than me, each took a hand, drug me around the skating rink. Just literally drug me around the skating rink. Just like I wasn't even there. My sister would do things like pump me on the back of her bicycle. Of course, broke my leg doing that, but it was a lot of fun. And then when it was a cold day one winter, I just didn't weigh anything, and she sat there and she threw me up on top of her shoulders and walked with me all the way to the convenience store from our house. And I remember that, just, I guess, being so tiny that you could do that. But I'm going to warn you about this blog. You guys are going to want to leave your best short jokes, but I got to tell you, I've heard them all. I really have, because I've been around, and when people meet me, I'm not intimidating, so they think they can just say anything to me. In a vlog at a later time, I'll tell you what some people have said to me. There's one thing that I have to explain there's one thing that I have to explain. I'm short enough to be different from you, but I'm not short enough to be considered a little person, a dwarf, a midget, or whatever. So I really don't fit. I really don't fit anywhere. And so that's kind of weird. Yeah. My best friend in high school, she got me to sing this in front of the entire school in my senior year in school. She begged me. She played piano, and we had another guy that played drums, and there I was in this silly barbershop quartet hat and red and white blue clothes, and yeah, people remembered that even at the high school reunions, and I still can't believe she got me to do that. Oh my gosh. But you guys have a great week. Leave your favorite short joke below. I dare you. And I'll see you soon.